Our guest today, you could say, is known for staying cool under fire. I'm actually here with James Dewinter. He is the owner of a small business, Double Dip Depot in Walker, and he's also a paid-on-call firefighter. James, thank you so much for being here. I know you're busy, so we definitely appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, yeah. Walker resident, small business owner, firefighter. What does that mean to you to do all of this and achieve so much within your same town?
Yeah, it's great. Being community is kind of my expertise. You know, I've always kind of been a community guy, so I really enjoy, owning the business and also supporting the business and the community by firefighting through Walker. Yeah,
and we'll get into all of those details a little bit. First, let's talk about Double Dip Depot. How did that come to be?
So my journey with Double Dip started a little over 15 years ago. I started there. It was my first job when I was 14. And the previous owner, Kevin, hired me. And day one, I actually ended up telling him I would own it someday and buy it from him. And never really actually believed it to be true, but it did. Yeah. So I started working for him, learned everything. He taught me everything about the place. So any questions with business, I was able to talk to him. I was able to learn all the product, all the suppliers, a lot of the salesmen I was around. Yeah. And, anytime I had business questions, because I always had a business mind, I feel like, I would always talk to him. And he taught me everything that I basically know about business and the ice cream shop. Yeah. So I worked for him about 8-9 years until I was trying to find my own career and get out from a part-time job to an actual career. And at that time, I had multiple different jobs that I think led me, up to this point and provided me a lot of experience for owning the shop. But it came down to him wanting to retire, and he kept saying, to the right person, I'd finance him through it. And finally, him saying that a few times, I kind of realized, is that me? And so we still had some funding to figure out. But I was able to buy it from him, and he was able to finance me through it, which is basically the only reason why I was able to actually buy it. Yeah. And so then I was able to take it over from him, and it's been a joy ever since. Yeah,
so it's been about 5 years, right?
Yeah,
so we're looking back at 2020 when you ended up taking that over.
Yeah, February of 2020.
Wow, so a month kind of before everything changed. What was that like? How did you make it through?
So, COVID obviously hit. And when you talk struggles of owning a business, COVID was probably one of the biggest ones that I've had to deal with. I've been pretty lucky. I haven't had a lot of issues, but it also isn't a brand new business. I took it over, so that helps too. But COVID definitely was a game changer. I didn't know a month in what I was going to do. I didn't know if I was going to be able to stay open, if I was going to have to close. I didn't know if I would make it. I was hoping I wouldn't be in that percentage that doesn't make it the first year. Luckily, with our drive-through and being a walk-up shop, we were able to stay open. And so we were able to shut down the patio, shut down the golf course, and then put a lot of restrictions on the inside. So we were kind of playing that by the wing of it and kind of what the health department would say and news would say. And we were trying a lot of things and learning what best would protect us and our customers. And we were able to get through, and actually it helped us. COVID hurt a lot of businesses, and I feel real bad for all those businesses. But for us, it actually helped because so many people were off, and so many people were just driving around looking for something to do. And they'd come by our shop and see that it was open and swing in. And we didn't even know you were here. We just seen you were open. So it helped us a lot. We were busy and we were able to get through. So that was really good.
Yeah, really a bright spot in some dark times.
Yeah.
So that's very fortunate. And how do you think being a Walker resident growing up in Walker has really influenced how you run a business?
Yeah, so, I think any business that lives and grows up in the city that they're in is going to have a lot better chance of succeeding. We've all seen businesses that come in from big corporations, build this building, never go into it, or they're there for a short time and it's not what the community wants. It might be a shake that's $14-15 and very delicious, very good, but also just too trendy and too expensive for the area. Talking with my neighbors who are my customers, talking with family who live in the area who come up, talking to, people on the fire department and in the city and, all that kind of stuff that I'm around a lot. They're all my customers, and they're not, especially when I know them, they're not afraid to tell me what they think. And I'm also not afraid if somebody tells me what they think, because all it does is help me. But so they don't want these high-priced, trendy items, So we try and keep it a mom-and-pop shop. We try to keep prices reasonable and just be able to, provide a good product for a fair price. And so that's what I've really tried to do.
Yes, and trying to find time to be a business owner, a father, a husband, and a paid-on-call firefighter. You've been doing that for a while. Yeah. How did you get involved with that?
Yeah, so I started paid-on-call firefighting about 9 years ago, so before I owned the depot. Yeah. And I was looking at maybe turning that into a career once I fell in love with that. I used that as kind of a gateway of, do I like it? And once I found that I liked it, I was thinking of creating that as a career until Depot came available. But so I started out doing that, and it was a great gateway, like I said, to see if firefighting was something that I wanted to do or not. And, so I was able to do that, and it's great, but it also comes with struggles, and so does owning the business. Time management is kind of a big thing. And that's one struggle I think most businesses have is time management, because, we're not just the cashier, or we're not just the maintenance guy. We're not just the accountant. Yeah. We do it all. Yeah. And so in order to do all that, that takes time. A lot of people will see the shop and see me there a lot, but they might think, okay, he's here when they're open. Sure. But they don't see the running around beforehand, or they don't see the billing, and then, even fire calls. They don't see the fire calls that I run at night or in the morning before work. And so time management is a struggle, but you kind of just have to work through that and try to, give yourself time when you can. And my time is after my kid goes to sleep and my wife goes to sleep. That's when I try and get a lot of my work done. Yeah. But time management is probably one of the biggest factors. And
do you think that any skills that you've learned as a firefighter helped with running a business?
So, yes, but more the opposite. Okay. So starting with firefighter to business, I am medically trained as a firefighter, and then I also have obviously firefighter training. So if something happens at the shop, I'm able to kind of help take care of that without, needing extra help. Sure. And if a medical comes in, I'm medically trained, so I at least have, a lot of the basics right away. Yeah. We can get extra help started from life or, our PD and stuff like that. Yeah. But I at least have some of that training as well, and I can start some of those medical, things right away. Yeah. But on the other side, business owner to firefighter, I think that's where it helps more because I'm able to kind of give back a little bit through the business, and we try and take care of the community a little bit as we can. So we came out with PD and the fire department, and then we teamed up with Foremost Graphics, and they do our printing for us. But we came out with these cards, these freeze cards, and all the most of the firefighters and all the cops carry them. And so if they see some child, typically child, but it could be an adult as well, if they see them doing something good, they give them to them, and it gets them a free cone or a slush or a free game of mini golf, and it's just a way that I can give back. Yes. And But I also see, as the business owner, I know, budgeting and what's needed and wanted and stuff like that. And I'm able to kind of bring that to the fire side as well and understand, when we as firefighters want something or we want more, we might not be able to get that right away because there's wants and needs. And we need to kind of, go back and forth on which one's which. And, so I can understand some of that stuff. But I think, it's more business to firefighting.
No kidding. Yeah. Very unique perspective with that. And for paid on-call firefighting, for those who may not have heard, what exactly is that? What are you required to do?
Yeah, so the first year of paid on-call is probably the hardest, and it's the worst because you get on and if you don't have the training yet, you get hired, you have to go through firefighter 1 and 2. That's, don't quote me, but give or take 275 hours of class time. It's a couple days a week, sometimes 3 days a week.
Yeah.
And so you do that for about 6-7 months or so, give or take. And so you do that. And then basically from there, you start doing trainings twice a month. Yeah. And you run calls at night or in the daytime. So right now we have 7-day a week full time from just before 6 a.m. to just after 6 p.m.
Okay.
So they cover a lot of the calls during the day when most of the paid on call guys are at work.
Okay.
But if it's larger than what just a few of our full timers can handle, they'll call in the paid on call as well during the day. But at night, it's all paid on call. So whether it's a pin-in at night or a structure fire or, if our police are busy and tied up and we're running a medical or we have a fire alarm, we handle all of that at night.
Okay, wow.
So we're running from our house or wherever we are to the station, and then we go from there.
Yeah.
So, the difficult factor with that is family time. You're with your family, you're eating, you might have people over, and a call comes out, and we're not looking at how to get out of going to the call. We're typically looking at how to go to the call. Yeah. So, I'll be like, okay, I'm running this call. And it's more, wait, what? And
right now in the middle of this. Yeah.
And it's right then, and I mean, somebody's calling for help. They need it now. So, we'll run any time of the night or day and, but yeah, we have one duty week a month, one duty weekend a month, and then a duty day a month, and then 2 trainings a month. So it's a lot, but it's also not too bad. And as long as you're able to manage it, it works really good and it's very rewarding.
Absolutely.
And we are looking for people.
Yes.
So if you're interested.
Yeah, walker.city/fire. Get all that information.
And then we also post on Facebook a lot too. So.
Yes. And with paid on call, you all are coming from different walks of life. Maybe you have some engineers, you've got an ice cream shop owner.
Yes.
You have so many skills that you can share with one another.
Yep. So, and that's really good in a way because even full-time guys that are doing 24-hour shifts, I mean, they might have side gigs or, they've all come from different walks of life and they know different things. And, so having a variety of people on a call that know different things is a game changer because I might not know engineering or I might not know this very well, but, I know that one of my other guys does, know, and so you can take opinions from everybody and then build a plan to do something. Yeah. And that's one of the great things about the firefighting side is, I've heard that we shouldn't be called firefighters. We should be like an all hazards department because you just never know what it's going to be.
Sure.
And by having people that are in so many different things like that, they're able to kind of take care of all those hazards.
Yes, we are so grateful to have you all in our community. And going back to the small business and that community support and such, what do you think the community and residents should know about the small businesses in our area and how best to support them, especially during these times?
Yeah, so, one of the big things is support local. Local businesses are, they're born and raised in our community. They're based off of us, and so if you can support local, that's the best thing you can do. I understand sometimes it's a little bit more money than going to the big box store or something, but it's better and you're supporting your neighbor or, something like that. Some of the best ways I think to support your business is Social media, as good as social media is, there's a lot of bad to social media as well. We know that. But, the good side of it is, if you share their posts, engage with them on Facebook, it really pushes their post to a bigger audience. And, and then also going to the businesses when you don't think about going to the businesses. So for restaurants, usually we all know Friday nights, Saturday nights, restaurants are busy. But some of the slow days for restaurants are Mondays and Sundays. Yeah. And so if you look around, you can actually find a lot of specials on different days of the week. And those specials are usually when they're slower. Yeah. So take advantage of the specials. You get a little bit out of a special, but yet you're supporting that business when they're slower and they need it most. And I know that's the key with me. This week it was 70 degrees. It was great. But also, we have snow on some of the days. Right. And on those days, those are days that it's not long lines, we're slower, So on days like that is when you can really support your local business.
Wonderful to know. And then finally, just looking forward in the next few years, where do you see your business going?
So I hope the business kind of stays about where it's at. My goal is to kind of keep it as it is. I don't want this crazy fancy shop. I don't, I like the mom and pop ice cream shop. That's kind of got that little bit of a rundown feel to it, but, not.
Yeah, it's nostalgic. We love that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And, as I redo things, I'm trying to kind of keep it that way. Awesome. I hope to maybe eventually, as I get it paid off, put on a little addition, new roof, stuff like that. Yeah. So some of those are the changes that I'd like to make, but that's with time and money and all that stuff. Yeah. And we'll see how it goes. But I kind of want to keep it the way it is because it's just nice and nostalgic, like you said. Yeah. And it's a good feel.
Yeah. Well, James, we are so fortunate to have you, not only as just a resident in Walker or a small business owner, but for all that you do to give back as a firefighter as well. Thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Made in Walker podcast. If you have comments or questions about this podcast, or if you have suggestions for future episodes, we'd love to hear from you. Please drop us an email at podcast@walker.city. Made in Walker is the official podcast of the city of Walker, Michigan. You can find Made in Walker wherever you get your podcasts.